This conference will now be recorded.
Ms. Williams, you went on the job.
You know, and I knew you were talking about me too. Yes, sir. Okay.
Angela, remind me.
Okay, I will. Okay.
All right. So as we're reviewing, we said that, what I frame you for journal entries is that there are about 20 types, but you only got to worry about the ones bold right now. The first 6 deal with the receipt of cash. Anytime cash is coming into the business, it's journal entry 1 through 6, and we're just working with 1, 2, and 3, and 5. Whenever we have these transactions, cash is debited and the related account is credited. So whenever you have a 1 through 6, you know that I got to debit cash in making my journal entry. When we pay cash, we have 7 through 11A, but we're just working with 7 through 11, principally 7 through 10, where when we pay cash for something, then cash is credited. So when cash comes in, we debit it. That increases cash. When cash goes out, we credit it. That decreases cash. And we debit what we spent the cash on. So if we got an asset, something of value, then we gave up cash for that. We paid off a liability, gave up cash for that. Expenses, dividends. So you always, your first thing, did I get cash? Boom, I got to pick something over here. Did I pay cash? Then it's got to be 7 through 11. Sometimes we'll have transactions other than cash. So I purchased an asset utilizing debt. That's just like using your credit card. Then you debit the asset purchase and you credit the liability created. And the only other thing we're dealing with is when you have a sale on account. I have some work to be done. I do the work, but I'm not paid right away. Then that's an account receivable. That's good for me. My yard person, he comes once a week to cut my grass. He doesn't have the workers collect the money. He sends me a bill at the end of the month, and then I pay him. So the workers come and cut the grass. They report that they cut my grass. He debits account receivable and credit revenue. Then when the cash comes in, he's set. But the main thing is once the workers have worked and cut the grass, the earning process is pretty much done for him because he knows, okay, as soon as he sends the check, sends the bill, I'm going to send him the check. So that's a sale on account. We do the work, but we do not get the cash right away. Is that clear? Okay, so those are all transactions that we're dealing with. We'll come back to some of the others later. You're supposed to have this. So as we're going through these, you can flip to it, and I don't have to be flipping back and forth. You're also supposed to have your chart of accounts, and we said that when you make journal entries, you got to use something on the chart of accounts with a number beside it. You got to use something on this chart of accounts with a number beside it. Any questions on anything that I've just reviewed? Okay, let's just see if we can. Page 48.
Will we have a lot of group work going on in this class?
Sometimes. Why? You ready for some group work?
Nah, I'm just asking. I like the individual work.
Well, when you go to work, you're gonna be put on a team, and the team has the work. together. If the team don't work together, what happened to that super team that played basketball last night? The super team.
They lost.
It fell apart.
But aren't they great? Aren't those guys great? So they're great all by
Excuse me, sir.
they're great all
Excuse me,
by
sir.
themselves. But now they got to learn to be great together to beat some more people. I mean, they couldn't even beat Cleveland. Well, when you work, it's the same thing. You can be great by yourself, but then you got to learn to work with people. So some things we do individually, some we do as a team. We work more with teams in the second class. We do it out of convenience here sometimes. A lot of times, if you understand something fairly well, I'll ask you to help someone. The reason for that is if you teach somebody else something, you really know it. You might think you know something, but when you got to explain it to someone else, you really learn it. And so a lot of the learning has to occur outside the classroom, and you have to learn to work with other people. Why do you teach other people? Well, if you're going to supervise down the road, which is what you want to do, you don't want to do the work. You want to supervise other people. Therefore, you have to learn how to teach other people how to do the job. So eventually, that's, those are the people who make the money, the ones who are at top, who can tell other people how to do the job and supervising them doing it, teaching what they need to do. So in the long run, you want to be able to have other people work for you and get the job done. So in this case, maybe I give you a team, and you say, well, all right, team, we getting this done. So anyway, that's very important, and you got to be able to do it virtually now.
Thank you.
Okay, so here are 13 journal entries that we're going to work on today. 13 journal entries, which should pretty much cover the journal entry that you've been assigned. So you should have looked at your journal entry already. It's in there. And so as we cover these, you should say, well, hey, that's my journal entry. When we make a journal entry, the first thing we do, we come up with, okay, what's the type? What type is it? After we determine the type, we determine what accounts are involved. And we make our debits and credits and put our dollar amount in. So this is not rocket scientist work, but you have to think about it. So in this first situation, we invested $10,000 into the business. What type of transaction is this?
A debit.
I want to know type first. See, the first thing you got to do is
Isn't it a type 1?
Okay, that's a type 1. And when it's a type 1, it tells us what? Debit cash, credit common stock. Okay, that's a type 1. We debiting cash and we crediting common stock. So, and then all we have to do is go in here and pick up our account numbers. Thumbnail, so they'll be there. And we know we're going to debit cash 100 and credit common stock 400. So our second step is to get these account numbers from the chart of accounts. Then we're ready to go to this journal entry and make the journal entry where we invested $10,000 into the business. So this is transaction 1. Okay. The type is a 1. We're gonna debit cash. We're gonna credit common stock. Cash is what number? Account number?
100,
100,
Common stock?
400,
400,
What was our amount?
10,000.
So can everybody do this now?
Yeah.
You read the transaction. We determine the type. The type tells us what accounts. We go to ledger, get these numbers, and we put it down. Every business in the world does this. I don't care where the business is located. It makes journal entries in as a way to get to. So that's the first thing it's got to do. It has to record all of its financial transactions. Then it will eventually get to the financial statements. Okay, let's go to the second one. Received a $40,000 working capital loan. So, you start a business, you go to the bank and you get a working capital loan. So what's happening here?
We're receiving something in value.
Getting something of value, but you're also giving up something of value. When you come to TSU and you pay for this course, you're getting something of value, the knowledge, but you gave up the cost of the tuition. Got it? So two things are always happening. You're getting something of value, you're giving up something of value. So what did you get of value here?
40,000.
The 40,000.
In cash. What did you give up?
Capital.
Give
Capital?
up capital, but
Capital loan?
suppose you utilize a student loan to pay for this course.
Oh, interest?
Well, no, what you gave up was you got to pay somebody. So you have
You give another loan because you got to pay that back.
You got to pay that back. So that's what you gave up, a note payable. Eventually, you're gonna have to give up some cash, just like if you pay for your course with a student loan. Yeah, they're deferring for a while right now, but eventually you got to pay back that loan with cash. All right, so tell me my type.
5,
5.
Type is 5. Does everybody have their sheets I told you to have?
Yeah. What sheets? I do.
Tell them what sheets.
it's your transaction types.
Oh, okay. I got it.
You're supposed to have a hard copy of that because you only got 2 minutes to make a journal entry. Okay, you only got 2 minutes, so you can't be fooling around. The number for cash is what, 100? What's the number for short-term note payable?
306. Let me double check that.
What's our amount that we got in this loan?
40,000.
40,000?
So next week, supposed to be able to, I might share the screen and have you do it. That may take too much time. But when I get to your journal entry, you got to tell me the type, the account.
Question: do we always have to indent the beginning
Yes.
of a new transaction?
Well, we skipping a line, and I forgot to skip a line here. Let me see. Insert. I forgot to put 2 here for the number. But when you write the account, whatever account that's debited is here, then we indent the credit. So you're always indenting the credit, so you kind of know it's a credit. Okay? So that's how journal entries look. And so this is what you got to be able to do. And what I found is if you can make the journal entries, but I don't want to get to midterm and I tell you to make some journal entries and do some other things, and you can't make the journal entries. So that's why we spend so much time on it. So there's no reason why you can't make journal entries. Number 3, you purchase supplies on account, $10,000. What's happening here?
12.
Somebody says a 12. What does 12 say?
Asset purchase.
Asset purchase.
Utilizing what? What did you give up?
Yeah.
Debt.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so we got supplies. But we gave up what's called an account payable. That is, this is like a credit card. You're gonna have to pay it off eventually. What's the account number for supplies?
130.
130.
Account number for account payable?
301.
301. What was our dollar amount?
Was it $10,000? I think it was $10,000.
$10,000. So when you're running a business, every time there's a financial transaction in getting ready to prepare your financial statements, you got to record these transactions like this. All businesses do this. Let's move on to number 4. What happens at number 4? We pay cash for $2,000 for a 1-year insurance policy. So what are we getting the value?
Insurance.
Insurance policy. What are we giving up?
Cash.
So we know this is going to fall within what numbers?
7 to 11.
7 to 11. So which one is this one?
9. Would that be payment of expense?
Well, no, it's an asset yet. It's not used up. So this is 7. We're purchasing an asset. Until we use it, it's still an asset. So until it expires, so it's prepaid insurance. It's just like the supplies we bought on account here. They're an asset until we use them. And we paid cash for this insurance, correct?
Yes.
You know that cash is 100. What's prepaid insurance, the account number?
653.
No,
131.
131.
Prepaid insurance?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. Got you.
So it's an asset right now. It'll be, we'll work, when we get to adjusting entry, we're making an expense, but right now it's an asset. Let's move on to number 5. In 5, we purchased 5 automobiles because we got a rental car company paying $20,000 each. So we purchased 5 automobiles for $20,000 each, paying $25,000 down and sign a note for the balance. What we're gonna do here?
5 automobiles times $20,000.
Okay. So we're going to purchase 5 automobiles. And we getting $100,000 worth of automobiles. What's the account number for automobiles?
210.
Okay. Now we pay for these automobiles. We give up 2 things. First of all, we give up cash. How much cash is it? We pay down 25,000.
Yep, 25,000.
So when we pay this cash at 25,000, what type of transaction is this part of this entry of the automobiles?
Debit.
Yeah, we got the debit already. It's a credit for cash
That's a
though.
credit.
This becomes a 7. We bought automobiles, and part of what we gave up was cash of 25,000. That's a type 7. So we know this is count 100, but then by automobiles, they want you to sign a note. So what's our long-term note payable?
75. Yeah, 75,000.
Okay, 75. So it's note payable. $75,000. But what type of transaction is this part of the getting those automobiles? What type do you
Liability created.
liability? So what type is it?
12.
It's 12. And what's the account number for note payable?
350.
So here we have a combination of things happening. We have 3 accounts. The debits still equal the credits. So do we see that? So if you have more than one account, you can have that at time, but the debits must still equal the credits. So 2 things happen. We got 100,000 in automobiles. That's what we got. We gave up cash to 75,000. Then we signed a note away for 75,000. Gave up cash to 25,000. We signed away a note for 75,000. And so that note is similar to your student loan. You got to eventually pay it back. So when you give up a note for your education, that's something of value that you gave up. That is, your obligation to pay somebody in the future. That's what you give up. For the person who's getting that money in the future, it's good for them. They're getting. Any question on this transaction, how it works? Make sure whenever you make a journal entry, debit equal credit. Sometimes there's more than one part to it. That's how it looks. Okay, what happened to number 6? What's happening now?
Isn't that at number 12?
See this word here, paid?
Oh, okay.
Would it be number 9? Payment
What's
of
number
expense.
Payment of an expense. So when we pay the advertising, get to number 6. That becomes a type 9. we're paying advertising expense, so we're just not paying an expense. But once we get into making the journal entry, we got to say what expense we paid. See that? You don't say expense paid from now, and you say what it was, and we paid cash. What's the account number for advertising expense?
611.
611. And what was our amount of advertising expense?
8,000.
Okay. So this is the starting point of accounting. And if you can't do this, you can't do anything else.
So just a question. So cash would always be 100 in like an account.
Say that again.
So the account number for cash would it always be 100?
Yep.
Okay.
See, remember we have this chart of accounts. We're going to go all the way back up here and find this chart of accounts. Just in case some people did not make their copies that they were supposed to make. So I didn't want to continue to do this. See, this is your chart of accounts. It's kind of like your bank account. Okay, if you got an account number, you don't go around changing your account number at the bank, do you?
No.
Okay, so when you run your business, it's the same thing. You got cash in a bunch of other accounts. And so these are your permanent accounts, and this tells where everything, every dollar amount goes. Whenever one of these is involved, that's where it goes. We're going to do something with this eventually. We got to make these journal entries first. You're supposed to have, if you don't, you're supposed to have a copy of this chart of accounts, and you're supposed to have a hard copy of the journal transaction types, so that we can easily go through these, and so you can finish in 2 minutes when you have a quiz at the end of the day on Tuesday. So what are we supposed to do? Okay. Cash received for car loan revenue. What we're going to do now? I mean, that's why we're in business, right? So this is transaction.
That'll be a type 2.
Debit an account in a type 2.
Cash. Any credit revenues.
Okay. I'll just say sales. That's easier to work with. So it can be any of those. Let's just use the word sales. It depends on the business. Rental company be car loan revenue. Account number for cash is what? 100?
100.
What's the account number for sales?
500.
500.
And what was our amount of sales? $150,000.
150,000.
Yeah, we'd be excited about that. That's why we're in business. But you can see a lot of other things are happening. And if you're going to be supervising it, anything other than sales, then you got to be able to understand all these other things that are happening too. Some people just going to be there with the cars, renting the cars out, washing them and all of that. Other people are going to be supervising the process. They'll make a little bit more money, but they have to understand everything that's happening. Okay, then what happened number 8? We do what?
Revenue, rental revenue earns.
Now we're on number 8.
That's paid expense, so that'd be number 9. That'd be a type 9, payment of expense.
Okay, so we got another payment of an expense. Transaction, so payment of an expense. A lot of time we're gonna have a lot of expenses. So whenever we have an expense, whenever we pay something,
Was it 30,000?
rent expense, credit cash. What's the account number for rent? Rent expense?
651.
Cash, of course, is 100. Rent that we pay,
30,000.
100.
no, 30,000, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, my bad. I'm sorry.
We didn't put that prepaid insurance in there, did we? $2,000 on the prepaid insurance. Okay. Car loan revenue earned from corporate customers. When ExxonMobil is renting cars, they don't have the execs to go up and present credit cards. They send the exec to call in, schedule a car for the exec go and pick it up. So we send a bill to ExxonMobil and they pay us. So we like these transactions. They're easy to work with, no cash. All we have to do is have a car there, the guy picks it up, and we send that bill to the company and they pay us later. So we've done the work. So what type of transaction is this, number 9?
15.
What does 15 say?
Sell on accounts receivable.
So that's when we're selling on account. Doesn't work. So we like sales like this, but we're gonna debit account receivable. We're crediting sales because we've done most of the work. What's the account number for account receivable?
110.
110. And sales?
500.
500.
500.
And what's our amount?
100,000.
100,000.
And in 10, we paid on notes payable. So this is like you paying on your credit card, or you paying on your student loan. So what type of transaction is number 10, paying on your note payable?
Payment of a liability, 8.
That's going to be a type 8, which is payment of a liability. So what are we going to debit? the liability paid, which is what?
Liability.
Accounts payable.
What we're gonna credit?
Cash.
Did we pay him?
Cash.
And what's our account number for account payable?
301.
What was our amount?
5,000.
Okay, so let's see if we can finish up. What happens in 11?
Collected cash.
Collect cash. So we know this got to be somewhere between what?
1 and 6.
1 and 6. So which one is it?
6, okay.
2. Cash revenue received.
Oh, you didn't get any.
No, 3.
It's a 3. So we're on number 11. Now, for us to have a type 3 transaction, we got to have had a 15 prior. So you see, when we did the work, we recognized the income, the revenue. We're just going to get it later. So in a type 3, what do you debit?
Cash.
What do you credit?
Account receivable.
So when we do the work, we recognize the revenue. And then down the road, when the cash is collected, how much cash did we get? 50,000. Then we're going to put it in here. We know cash is what, 100? What's the account number for account receivable?
110.
10. So some of these accounts, cash and sales, you want to just memorize those numbers so you don't have to worry about looking them up all the time. So we use them all the time. Paid dividend of 5,000. What is a dividend?
Money, basically.
When you own stock in a company,
A percentage from a stock payout.
put our money in the company, you can't just take it back out. But you can pay the owner dividend, that earnings. But you can't put some money in the company and then just take it out. People think it's selling your stock to other people. So this is payment to the owners for their investments. What type are we talking about here? What's my type?
See.
Would that be 10?
10, payment of the dividends. So we gonna debit what, dividends?
Debit dividends. Credit cash.
And what was our amount, $10,000? 5,000. What's the account number for dividends?
455.
Cash is 100. Got one more left, right?
Yes.
So we're down to 13. We're just about there. What type of transaction is 13? Let's see what's happening. We pay, we got this note just like your student loan. You got to pay back principal what you borrowed plus the extra amount interest. So two things have to be paid back. Principal, which is the note, plus the interest, the extra amount. So we're paying on that long-term note payable for the long-term note. We also got to pay interest. And we paying what?
Cash.
Yep, the bank wants cash. So the note was 3,000. The interest was 1,000. So the total we pay is 4,000. So notice we got to be balanced. Okay, the debits have to equal the credit. Once again, two things are happening. We're paying on a note payable. What type is that?
Would that be a 9?
I might go down here for the interest where you pay the expense.
Would it be 8?
8, payment of a liability. So what's our account number for long-term notes?
350.
What's our account number for interest?
680.
680.
680.
Yes,
Cash.
sir. Cash is 100.
100.
356.
So this is what's involved in that first, that first step, making these journal entries. So you have to read them, analyze them, make journal entry, and I'll frame you a way to do that with the journal entry types. Are there any questions?
Yes. Did you
Yes,
say we
ma'am.
have a quiz on Tuesday or Thursday?
I don't know, we got time left over today. We might have it today.
Oh, no, please, no.
We will practice, we'll probably do an attendance quiz, practice quiz on Monday, Tuesday, so I can say you all are coming.
Okay.
We don't have only have 25 people here. I don't know where the other people are. Yeah, some of y'all better get ready to do extra journal entries. But what I want you to do now is to go to that problem and determine what is your journal entry now and see if you can make your journal entry now so you have it already done. Come into the journal entry study problem. Get your journal entry and make.
I didn't hear the last part. What did you say?
So what now?
I didn't hear the last part. What did you say?
Go to the journal entry study problem,
Mhm.
get the journal entry that you've been assigned, and make that journal entry now.
Where do we go to see like where we've been assigned?
In course content is in this section is a class roster that has a number by your name. That number is the journal entry study, is the number in the journal entry study problem that you have to do.
Okay, so just for clarification, where am I looking at for the? I just looked at the class roster, but I need the other sheet.
Okay, here's the class roster. You see that? The problem is the next entry. So there's 60 or 70 journal entries. You simply got to work the one that corresponds to your number in that class roster. We should be able to fly through this next week. We've gone over the type. I would have gone over with one of those. Is there anybody who has a problem with their journal entry?
Where are the charts again? I'm sorry.
Where's what?
The chart, like the accounting chart.
The next one up. So the accounting cycle copy sheets, that's the next thing up. You're supposed to print that and have it ready because you're only going to have 2 minutes per journal entry.
Yes,
Got it?
yes.
And also, you know what? You're responsible for the first 40 on that problem. You're just doing one, but eventually you got to turn in to me all 40.
Professor Boyd, I have a question.
Yes.
What if it doesn't say how much the interest is?
How much the entry is, then the information is somewhere else in the problem.
Okay.
Close by. So, these are continuing entries. So sometimes we want you to think a little bit.
Okay.
So what will happen, I'll go through the first 20 on next time.
Okay, so my number is 31. Where would I go to find that problem?
J. Rental Car Company. The next thing is the next item in accounting cycle. There's 70 journal entries. You got to do 31. Everybody see their journal entry, and everybody work their journal entry. So since you may have to do others, I talked this week.
Professor Boyd, did you say that 8 students have to do like all 70 problems?
Eventually, you're gonna be an A student.
I am. I don't know about anybody else.
Okay, Mr. Keenan. Well, we won't worry about all 70, Chelsea, but I'll put your name down as your A student. Anybody else A student? So what that means, Chelsea, if somebody's not here next time, then I'm gonna call Angela and Pete and any other students to do them.
All right.
I like A students. Remember, I'm not talking next week, and this is you all's problem now. So you all are gonna have to be responsible for working those 40 journal entries. With only 25 people, you all still got to get 40 worked.
Have you started office hours yet?
Yeah. So probably in the 2:30 time frame on Mondays and Wednesdays. And then what I'll try to do is to be in at 2 o'clock prior to this class. I also have time after the class at 3:45. So, because I don't have another class after this as I normally do. They moved it to Monday, Wednesday. Accidentally, but that works out okay. So we'll have time before the class, after the class on Monday and Wednesday. So it'd be no excuses.
I'll see you Monday.
Okay.
I have questions about my problem.
Me too.
Anybody else out? Everybody else got made. They know what they're doing.
I
No,
don't.
I'll be.
Yes,
Yeah,
me neither. I'm a little lost.
I'm
Okay.
lost.
Why are you lost? Tell me why you lost.
Okay, well, I was at work, so I wasn't able to print out the charts. So I'll print them out today. But it's just I don't know. Really not.
Where do you work at?
I work at an assisted living facility. I'm a CNA, and I pulled a double yesterday, so I was at work all day.
Where you work now?
At an assisted living facility.
Assisted living. Do they do an accounting in that assisted living facility?
Yes.
Okay. Well, so you work there, but eventually you want to own one of those facilities, right?
Sure, yes.
And that way you better walk around and tell other people what to do, and they could be doing the assisting, and you make the money. Isn't that how it works?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so therefore, then you need to understand, okay, that somebody's doing these journal entries we're doing. The owners got some people doing these journal entries and doing things like this.
Mm-hmm.
That's your goal. You there, whether it's that company or others, but you need to look at the bigger picture that, hey, this stuff, what we're talking about is happening. And that's where you want to be in the company rather than changing the bedpans and stuff. Got it?
Yes, sir.
That's why you in school. So that's fine, but it should resonate more with you if you're working that this is going on, and I need to understand this so I can understand what the company is doing.
Yes, sir.
But you only got one journal entry you have to do, and Chelsea and Angela are going to do the rest of them.
Thank you.
Let's see what thus says the Lord.
But this is this is the first week we're just starting on this. A lot of times, it's glossed over, and people try to go to other steps, and people can't make journal entries, so you can't go any further. So you'll begin to see, but this is week 1. But by the end of next week, most of you all will be able to make journal entries pretty easy. Okay? Because that's all you're going to see next week. You're going to see 20 journal entries on Tuesday, and you're going to see 20 again on Thursday. And by that time, Most people in here would then be able to begin to make journal entries, and you'll have a journal entry quiz, I guess 3 class periods from now. So we spent the first week on journal entries, all next week will be on journal entries, and then the following Tuesday you'll have a 20-point quiz on just journal entries. Got it?
Got it.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Well, we're going to practice on journal entries. We'll do a little practice attendance quiz. And remember, on attendance quizzes, those are extra points. They don't count in your basic 100. So, we'll do a little practice points, so you build up the points and everything. But they don't hurt you. But you got to practice before the big day. See, Kyrie decided that he had to do civic things. Then he came and got there and just started shooting all over the place when he started playing, and Harden couldn't do anything. So, because they hadn't practiced and worked together and everything, you can't just get out there and do it. And so, a lot of time we'll do a little short quiz here and a little short quiz there to get you ready for the major quiz, rather than just take a major quiz and not be there. So, we'll be okay on it. I'm confident that Chelsea, I, and Angela are going to have some additional A students. Now, last semester, in my morning class, I think probably 2/3 of the students made A's or B's. I think in the afternoon class, probably half had A's or B's. So if you come to class and do what I tell you to do, and you'll be okay. Most students are going to be okay. Okay. Well, you all have a good weekend. Don't dream too much about journal entries, but make sure you can work your one journal entry. And then, think you'll begin to come to light next week. Okay?
Okay, Professor Boyd, you have a good weekend.
I'm going to try to.
All right,
Don't
Professor.
drink
Have a good one.
All right.
Have a good weekend.
up on the Hennessy.
Wait, the end of the semester. All right, coming, Miss Kelly.
Today I
When
was
I
a little
read,
confused because when I read, hold on, when I oh crap, hold on, me, hold on, I'm sorry because I can't hear you. Hold on,
Okay, I wasn't talking. I was waiting for you to talk.
I'm sorry, I cannot hear you. I don't know.
You can't hear me?
Give me 1 second. I have to log in through my phone.
Okay. Because you were up here twice.
I'm sorry. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, we got to clarify that. You still there, Mia?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. So you work in assisted living?
Yes, sir.
So how's that coming?
It's all right. I'm tired of doing it, but I'm just doing it for experience.
Okay. So what's your overall goal and planning like then?
I'm getting my degree in health administration, so maybe once I graduate, start at a VA hospital, and then maybe open up my own facility in the future.
And didn't the facility just close and people didn't know about it? You saw the news on that?
No, I didn't.
Some healthcare facility closed and doctors and everything, just landlord came in and locked it out. So, the bottom line, you got to understand this accounting behind what's going on. So some medical facilities doing well, others are not. So
Yes, sir.
you got to work with that. Ebony, did you ever get able to
Yes,
get? Okay.
yes. Yeah, so today when I read your announcement and it said bring hard copies, I thought that you meant we were having like in-class class. And so I drove all the way to TSU. And then by the time I got there, I realized that wasn't what was going on. So I had to drive all the way back home, and I was trying to like listen to it in the car. So it's a little here and there. But I'm gonna sit down and just like go through it myself and look at it, and then I think I'll be okay. I'm gonna look at some YouTube videos too. They normally can help me.
Okay.
Yes, I got it. I got some notes because I had you last semester and they dropped me or whatever. So I have some notes from last semester. So I'm looking over those.